action.
Oh, we're rolling the cameras?
That's the good stuff, man. People like to see, down and out
Down and
book
out in
guy.
Beverly Hills. You don't know this, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm actually 25 years old. This is what having 4 kids does to you. He's 50.
Yeah. Close, but not quite. All right. What's up, everybody? Regan here for MBartist alongside Steven. Steven wanted to lie to you guys today and act like this is all the same show, but I'm going to let you in on a bit of an Easter egg right now. This is Friday. We filmed the interviews we're going to show you today on Tuesday. That's how busy it's been here. I've been wearing the same shirt for 3 days. So now that that's out of the way, you know it, and you can tell we're burning daylight here. That's why I got a sun ray right in my face. But with that, Steven, what's up? What's going on?
Well,
You've been busy.
My beard's a little longer since we did the interviews.
Yeah, and I just blew your cover
just blew
anyway.
it. I could have shaved. I could have shaved. You're like, oh, I want to keep continuity and blah, blah, blah. And then right out of the gate, you're like, yeah, we're going to tell you the truth. So I've been wearing this sweater for 3 days and feeling like a caveman for nothing.
I thought I was overdressed the last couple of weeks, so I took out my old flash shirt.
I'm
Then you
just
dressed
glad
up.
you are dressed.
Now you got a nice hoodie on.
Yeah, it's actually warm today, and I'm wearing a hoodie because it was freezing on Tuesday.
We're in Canada, so it's cold already.
Okay.
So
What was your question? I didn't answer your question.
I forget what my question was now, so we're good.
Must not have been
Start
that
from scratch.
important. Yeah.
So we're talking to George Zotti today. Do you want to tell people a little bit about what George is? Basically, we want to talk to George. I'm going to answer the question I just asked.
Oh, you're going to answer your own question? Then why am I? You know what? I'll see you later, folks. He's got this covered.
We're talking to George because, as everyone knows, this week, the last few weeks, I guess, was Comic-Con, right? Get over here. Oh. I got no one to talk to.
Oh, sorry. Well, it's not. I'm just trying to return the favor. You remember, one of these interviews, he's MIA.
All right, take it away. Don't blow it.
Longest pee break ever. All right. Well, George Zotti? Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I woke up one day and I realized I miss conventions. I miss Fan Expo. So I thought, what better to do but let's talk about it and see what's going on with people. And George, I've done many shows, and George runs the Fan Expo shows. So who better to get an idea of what the heck is going on in the convention world than the head cheese himself?
And seeing as we've already exposed the fact that we've already talked to George and it's coming up, it's a really good interview. He talks about kind of the state of Fan Expo, where they're going, plans for next year. He gives us his My 5 in terms of celebrities that he's hoping to see there in 2021. So it's a really good chat that we had with George, and it kind of ties in nicely with the lack of Comic Cons and expos that are going on right now. I keep saying Comic Con, I should say Fan Expo, I guess.
Well, it's many things. It depends on who has the
it's like pro wrestling.
trademark.
People say WWE when that's only one company. But,
I don't care. It's WWF.
or like tissue, people don't say Kleenex when that's a brand.
Potato.
Yeah.
Well, we keep talking about it. Should we just roll it?
Yep.
Is this where we do the
Batman thing, yep.
All right, ready?
Yeah. All right, guys, we are here live with George Zotti. George is the Exhibitor Relations Manager with Fan Expo, and coming to us live from Toronto. George, how's it going today?
It's going good, guys. How are you?
Not bad. So Fan Expo would have been last week, am I correct?
Yeah, it was the last week of August. Yeah, that's our big show of the year. So
Probably a somber week there then for you guys.
yeah, it was a little weird sitting back in the office not doing anything. That's one of our big shows that pulls in normally about 120,000 people.
Wow. So we promised each other we weren't going to talk too much about COVID today, but we might as well get the elephant out of the room and then go on to other stuff. But so, and I just totally lost my train of thought. So let's.
Well, it's because you pointed out the elephant in the room.
So, what was I going to say?
You were going to talk about COVID, but not talk about COVID.
Yeah, that's kind of backing yourself into a corner.
Which is where the elephant is. So there's not a lot of room there.
So George, where do you see this going heading into 2021? I mean, obviously this had to have a major impact on the business as itself. Like, do you see things kind of falling back into where they were? Do you see new avenues that you guys are working on just in case? Like, what's the strategy there right now?
Well, I mean, we've definitely tried to diversify and do things more digitally. We've had some digital events with celebrities, and also we've reached out and we did this program with fan ambassadors. So a lot of people who are volunteers that come to the show and stuff, we made them our fan ambassadors in the area, so they start running stuff on our behalf, and we'll support them with prizes and pushing it on our social media and stuff like that. But yeah, this is unprecedented, and as things slowly get back to normal, unfortunately, giant gatherings are the last thing on the list.
Yeah.
Right. And I think we'll start, fingers crossed. I think once people start accepting going to see sports live again, I think that's our key to get back to at least to something.
So as far as last week's show, like how close did you guys get before you pulled the plug? Because I know a lot of people, they expected by September we'd be kind of back to normal. Like, did you guys, were you rolling forward until a certain point?
Yeah, usually before we, sign all the contracts, whether or not it's for the venue, whether or not it's for celebrities or anything like that, we have to get that all done at least a month before the event. So when you see things aren't going forward, it's usually that's what we've been doing. It's sort of like, okay, it's not going to work, so we cancel a month before. Some places like Calgary, we did it in advance because we spoke with the mayor, and the mayor said, yeah, there's no way you're going to do a show with 100,000 people. It's just not going to happen. So, and for the most part, it's been the city or the province or the venue itself saying, okay, you can't do this. So there's
got to be a huge financial hit with that, I would assume. How do you guys weather that? Like, how do you manage to get, I know how small businesses are scraping by, but something big like that where one of your main shows is squashed, how do you guys weather past that? Is it?
Well, Fan Expo is part of a giant exhibit corporation called Informa, and we're worldwide. So we have been doing shows in other parts of the world. We do have a couple of digital lines that we deal with. But like this year, Fan Expo itself has only done one show, and that was our Vancouver show in February of this year. But yeah, it is a huge financial drain on the company. And kudos to Fan Expo and Informa that we're all still employed. We're all still plugging away. We're all trying to make 2021 the best year ever. Right? We have a lot of time to work on it.
So. Some of the smaller shows are starting to pop up, even smaller shows here in Canada. Is there any thought to doing smaller scale shows with Fan Expo?
Yeah, we're looking at that too, but it all depends on what. To us, a small scale show is 25,000 people. To us, that's a small show, Right. So we have to look at the logistics of putting on a show. If it's only going to pull in 5,000 people, with all the teams involved, all our marketing teams, all our sales teams, everything involved, is that going to be making us enough money? Is that going to be making us money? Because if you're just you're a guy who runs a comic book store and you put on a show that gets in 2,000, people, and you walk away with, hey, I made 10 grand. That's awesome. But yeah, we can't do that. So, and it's also the level of show that we want to put on for everybody, right? We don't want just FanExpo has this reputation of doing large, really cool scale events. So we want to kind of stick to that. So that's why we're looking into more marketing for next year and more programming so that we can, offer the fan a bigger bang for the buck.
So in terms of what you have been doing in the meantime, you say you've been doing a lot more digital events. How has the getting your corporate clients and celebrities and studios on board to work with you on those?
They've actually been really great. I think everybody realizes that, things are different now. So they definitely have been very supportive. Most of our events have been for charity. So we don't want to put too much of a financial strain on our fan base, because we know that, everybody's worried about their job and all that sort of stuff. So the celebrities and the fans have been really good like that. We'll do it on a donation basis. So, donate what you can. And the celebrities have been great. So,
do you have any online events happening that you want to share with us?
We've actually run through the gambit of our online events because we were really hoping to run a small version of Fan Expo Canada in November, but we unfortunately we did have to cancel that as well. That got canceled last week. That was the last maybe show of the year, and it just obviously it didn't happen.
So are you looking towards 2021 now?
Yes, yeah, we're definitely looking towards 2021. So, trying to do everything we can to make the show safe, make it so that people want to come back to our shows. Though we're not too sure what we can run in the first quarter of next year, but we're still kind of looking at that. And I mean, we don't know. None of us have a crystal ball. Is there going to be a second wave? Is there going to, when are people going to start to feel safe? Like personally, a whole bunch of people on my Facebook feed are starting to go back to movies. So, if that can start to slowly happen, then maybe, we can slowly get back to events.
I think sporting events are at like 15% capacity now too. Like they're starting to slowly let people in.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I know that's the same thing with like theaters, and they're huge. Like you got 2 seats and then 2 seats empty and then 2 seats and then 2 seats empty. And then the row behind you is empty. And then it's the next row.
Yeah. It's staggered.
Yeah.
Is there anybody? So obviously you're looking towards 2021 and getting in contact with studios and celebrities. I guess I should be getting a phone call pretty soon then, eh?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We're definitely been. Well, you're a big part of our artist alley, right? You guys come in, you take almost pretty much a full row for any of the big shows. So
yeah, well, the unfortunate thing, we were planning on taking even more space this year, but
yeah. And you know what? Before COVID happened, all of our shows were up. Like all of our shows were up. Toronto Comic Con, which was the first one that we had to cancel, week before the show, our sales were up 50% over last year.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so our pre-sales were up by 50% over last year, which was we're like, that's phenomenal. Calgary was up 20%, Orlando was up 20%, Dallas was up 17%. All of our shows were up. We were looking for a banner year. It just didn't happen.
That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. So I guess after, how are you working on that in terms of the pre-sales? Are you just offering them the refunds, or how's that working?
Yeah, that's pretty much what we've done. We've offered to, for all our retailers, for all our vendors, we've offered to flip them to 2021 at the same price as 2020, or offered them a full refund. We understand that, if you made your money going from show to show, there's no shows. So you may need your money back. So, and I mean, fingers crossed, I've been checking in with some of our vendors on a regular basis, and, most of them are weathering the storm, but, like anything else, I think this is going to put some people out of business.
Well, if I remember correctly, it was, I think when everything shut down, it was 2 weeks before Dallas, wasn't it? It was 2 weeks before Dallas?
2 weeks before Orlando.
Orlando, right. So my stuff got stuck in Orlando and no one knows where it went. Have you been getting a lot of phone calls about that? Hey, George, where's my stuff?
Every once in a while I mean, the best of times that happens every once in a while, but there was a couple of people where their stuff went down to the show already.
Yeah.
And that kind of sucks because then you got to pay to get it back. And there's no money. Nobody's making any money on anything. So it's not like the convention center is going to hold it for you for a year. No.
I tried. I'll be there. I'll just be a year late. That's all.
Yeah. And like I said, the scale of this just keeps on rolling and rolling. Every time we think, okay, well, we'll push it back 4 months or 5 months or whatever, things just get canceled and canceled. So fingers crossed next year we can get back to some semblance of normal.
So I see you have Linda Carter. Before we let you go, we got Linda Carter behind you. Have you actually met her?
I didn't get a chance to. Usually at the shows, she kind of comes to the tier 1 shows.
Yeah.
So those are the big, busy shows. And man, when we do a show, it's 14 hours days on my feet, 100% all day long, putting out fires, dealing with problems, moving around. So unfortunately, I do not get a lot of chance to meet the celebrities. So I was hoping this year, because I'm a huge Lord of the Ring fan, massive, and we were having all 4 hobbits. And of course, we're hoping to get them back for next year. But
all your years working with Fan Expo, tell me the one celebrity that made you act like a kid around.
That was bizarrely. I went to see Edward James Olmos because I'm a huge Battlestar Galactica fan, and his handler beside him, I kept on looking over at her and going, "Nah, it couldn't be." And I'm like, "No, why would she be handling Edward James? Like, why would she be taking money and sorting his photos?" And then I decided, okay, I gotta ask her. And I said, "Excuse me, but are you Aaron Gray?" If you're familiar, Aaron Gray was Wilma Deering in the Buck Rogers series in the 80s. And she said, "Oh, yes, I am." And then normally celebrities, music stars, I've met them all, and I'm never starstruck. But out of my mouth, before I had a chance to think about it, I went, "I was so in love with you when I was 16. Oh, my God." And I'm just like, "I'm so sorry."
What was her reaction? Did she
She
turn
loved, no, yeah, she was great. She was really, really cool. And then I asked her if I could get her autograph. She said, "No, I'm here for Eddie." So, no. But I was there with a friend of mine who the very next week went to Dragon Con. And she was at Dragon Con, and my friend went there, and she went to get a signed photo for me. And she said, "Oh, do you remember my friend last weekend? He accidentally said that he was in love with you." And she said, "No, I remember him. He was great." So she signed a photo for me for free, which was incredible. So
she wouldn't do in person.
Well, she didn't have them, right? Like when she's there repping somebody else, she doesn't do her own thing. But she was at the show signing, right? So she had photos and all that sort of stuff. So
that's awesome.
Do you have a wish list of people that, like, who's your all-star cast for 2021 if you could get them?
Well, I mean, we want the Hobbits back. I want the Hobbits back. Like, huge Lord of the Rings fan. Like, that was the first book I read as a kid that I chose to read. Because you're always reading books in school. We read like the Narnia series and stuff like that. But the first book I chose to read as a kid was Lord of the Rings, which took forever to read because it can be a little dry sometimes. But so bringing back the Hobbits would be, to me, that's the pinnacle, right? And we had all set for Dallas. We had John Cleese to be at our Dallas show. And good Lord, John Cleese would be phenomenal.
Yeah, I was all lined up for him.
Yeah, like John Cleese, and that's kind of an out of the box guest too, right? It's sort of like, not every, like when we had John Travolta and at Fan Expo Canada, that's kind of a weird, even though like he's been in Pulp Fiction and stuff like that, he really doesn't do shows. So I think that's a pretty cool thing. But I'm an old guy. I'm looking for all the old guests.
What are the odds of getting Gandalf?
I don't think Ian McKellen does shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's kind of like Robert Downey Jr., who is just like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. And when all those guys when all the Avengers go to San Diego and stuff like that, that's all contracted, right? That's all part of pushing the movie, right? We're coming to our shows, that's not mandated. So getting Avengers is hard.
Can you kind of like, how does something like that, how do you get a John Travolta out of the box? Because I'm quite sure you guys are like, oh, we could never get John Travolta. How, like, does he contact you guys, or do you just say, you know what, persistence is the key? How does something like that happen?
I'm not on our guest team, but talking to our guest team people, it's all weird. Sometimes they are like, oh, hey, we see you have a show in the city, and they happen to be filming in the city, or because usually we'll go through somebody's agent, right? So somebody's agent reps somebody else. It's easy to do that. Or if they're part of a larger agency, it's easier to go, oh, hey, well, do you know who we can talk to this person, or stuff like that. The majority of the time it's us reaching out to them, but every once in a while we get hey, John Travolta's going to be in Canada filming something. So maybe he'd like to make some extra cash going to this event. Are you guys interested? And then, our guest team works out the deal and signs all the contracts and stuff like that, only red M&Ms and stuff like that,
Like Ozzy Osbourne. How,
Exactly, yeah.
and I remember that. How cool was it that you were able to get the Back to the Future cast for a series of shows? I remember I was in Boston and I was like, wait, Michael J. Fox is here? And I just thought that was so cool seeing him and Christopher and the whole gang. They were all lined up. It was just, how was that like, just having them for a series of shows?
Phenomenal. I mean, anytime we can get any kind of, like a beloved movie like that with beloved characters, and that's what we want to do going, in the future. Our guest team and our program coordinators and stuff are looking forward to doing. It's really cool when you get a cast, right? So we can pull in like a cast of characters, because we've had the cast of Aliens. We were trying to pull in a bunch of the cast of Blade Runner, and unfortunately Rutger Hauer passed before the show. He was supposed to be in our Boston show. But whenever we do stuff like that, that's a really good get for fans, and people get really excited about that.
So George, if people want to keep up with upcoming events and schedules and stuff, where's the best place to keep in touch with Fan Expo on a regular basis?
Yeah, we've just redone our website. So brand new last week. There's not, for retailers, there's not a lot up there because we're still trying to figure out full dates. And unfortunately, we haven't listed celebrities or anything, but you can just, it's our website and you can go to any one of them. So whether or not it's MegaCon or Fan Expo Canada or any of that sort of, any show, and there's a tab that says About Us, and you can look at all of our shows. So it's FanExpoHQ.com.
Awesome. And I can say from experience, not only is it a blast attending a show, it's also a blast being on the other side of the table at the show. It's a lot of fun, and I for one miss it, and I look forward to getting back to it and then getting a big bill.
We should ask him for a press pass now. we got him on camera.
I'm probably going to be drawing all weekend.
I'm coming with my camera.
Well, of course. I mean, Steve's coming to all our shows, so I'll take care of you.
George is a great guy. He even takes care of you at shows that aren't theirs.
That's one thing I do miss too, right? Because part of my job is to go to other shows, right? And talk to our vendors or talk to new vendors and talk to existing vendors and going, hey, what do they do that you want us to do, and things like that. So, normally I'm on the road, a few months a year, going to our shows and then going to other people's shows and stuff. And now it's like, it's just, my suitcase is just in the back of the closet collecting dust.
Well, before we let you go, it's just, I remember before everything shut down, I bumped into you at C2E2. And I saw George, and for a brief second there, I was going to start complaining. And then I was like, wait, this isn't his show.
But no, you can complain to me about other shows so we don't do the same thing.
Oh, no, it was a great time. C2E2 was a blast. And it was nice seeing you there, and we had a great 20-minute conversation.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what it's all about. And unfortunately, this has turned into, I want to see people in person shake hands as opposed to talking heads on a on a computer screen, right? So,
and I definitely look forward to taking up as much as Artist Alley as possible with MBartist.
Absolutely, man.
All right.
Yeah. All right. That is George Zotti with Fan Expo HQ. Be sure to check out their website, fanexpohq.com. George, thanks a lot.
No problem, guys.
Forward to hopefully meeting you in 2021.
Absolutely. Hopefully we'll see you soon.
Take care.
Right.
Thanks, George.
Later, guys.
Bye.
So that's it for this week's episode. Big thanks to George from Fan Expo for his thoughts. And stay tuned. Coming up next week, we've also got James, right? James.
Well, we have two that we got to do. We got James C. Mulligan, Disney artist.
and former art director with Playboy.
I know. He's
Yeah.
got stories.
Yeah. So James will be on, again, talking about, James is kind of coming from the perspective of artists, and he's going to be talking about what he's done in the absence of the income that he makes, which is significant off fan conventions. And one of the things that James has done that he talks about a little bit is having signed with MBartist.
That's us.
That's us.
That's me.
And yeah, well, I'm on the podcast, so it's kind of me.
That is you. It's us.
And
It's a new relationship, folks.
and yeah, so I mean, like different things that himself and other artists are doing to kind of combat any loss of income from fan conventions, which for some of these guys is pretty significant. So that'll be a good one for any artists out there.
Yep.
And anyone else coming up that you know about?
We got Irving and Vicky Santiago that I interviewed while you know who sidekick here was taking a pee break. And they are going to talk to us about how they were able to get a Comic-Con show off the ground during this pandemic. So we're going to talk to them about what was that like. And
Am I the sidekick? I thought I was the host and you were the sidekick.
oh, am I the sidekick?
That's what I was thinking.
I look good in green tights.
There you go. All right. See you next week, guys. Cheers.
Bye.